Hello, everyone. I'm feeling
Hello.
very anarchical. Is that the
I don't
term?
know. Jordan
Um,
was in the middle of a sentence, went ugh, anyway, and then started the thing without saying like 3, 2, 1 or like, are you guys ready? We're about to start. Like literally, just like blah 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 blah. Ugh, anyway, doink, and then now we're in the stream. So here we
yeah,
are.
usually I get everyone to put their hands in. We say a prayer because I'm
Yeah,
ordained.
we all go
Um,
ducks, and then the thing starts. You
yeah,
know.
Yeah,
it's
we all say quack, quack,
Yeah.
quack.
yeah, it's
So
it's it's pretty inspiring. But today got none of that shit. Because welcome to Cracked Movie Club. Did you see? We were right at about 30 seconds. Welcome to Cracked Movie Club, the show where we do a book club, but for movies, which are like books, but better. I am your host, Jordan Breeding, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jesse and Allie. Say hello.
What's up?
hello. What's up?
Um, it depends
Be
on who you
good. Be
ask,
well.
but a lot of
Oh yeah, here let's
my
all
wife's
greet each
calling me on
other.
air. You ready?
Oh, okay.
Is
While
this
your wife
absolutely
talks,
necessary?
let's Jesse and I will
Freaking
greet each other
podcast
like we're
every
in
day.
Demolition
Okay.
Man. Oh, hey,
Gotcha.
be well.
Um,
Oh, be
be well,
well.
babe. Be well with you. All right. So here's the deal, nerds. We just lost 30 people from that phone call. We're going to be talking
I love
about
that.
the Demolition Man. It's not but that's maybe you'll think it's a
But there's only
superhero
one,
movie.
one of a kind. God broke the mold
God broke the mold
with
when
that one.
well, quite literally, the ice mold. Ooh, 210. Okay,
Ooh,
so here's the deal.
it's a
We're
good
going to
movie.
talk about this movie, and we got Brian here trolling through this chat. And if
Mm.
you happen to have an observation that you think is interesting, throw it in there. If you, yeah, exactly, comments, alternate titles. We're going to try and retitle this film because Demolition Man is actually a pretty bad title for this movie.
They
Yes, it
really
is sort of
drove.
a weird title for this. Yeah.
They hammered it. It's like when you try and make your own nickname stick. They were like, "Well,
Yeah,
here's the name
Mm,
of the movie, and we're gonna make sure to say it 5 times."
that's
but
true.
also he causes so little damage compared to others in the
Well,
movie.
it was the '90s.
Yeah, he blew up one building, and actually nothing had ever been blown up in the '90s. So
Yeah,
it was like
one
a
building that
really
didn't
big
have any
deal.
windows. It just had
But he didn't even blow
indentations.
it up. He was just there when it exploded.
That's
Anyway,
actually a
it's
really good point. It
ridiculous.
is framed like it's going to explode, and then it doesn't. And they just cut a
Yeah,
little bit closer.
that is true. No, I agree. It is sort of like going to a new camp and being like, I'm gonna be Andy at this camp.
Call me
No one
you.
needs to know that
Everybody,
that's like not what my friends back home call me. Just be like, guys can call me Andy. Yeah.
everybody, call me Alice Nutting from now on.
Yeah. I hope that doesn't stick with me for 12 years of being on the internet. Like that.
Yep. So I obviously love this film. I didn't. Let's just get into it. Jesse, can you recap this movie for us?
This movie, I'm gonna bear the brunt of absolutely loving this film today. It seems like
Yeah.
As you
so
Savvy.
often do.
because I did especially. Can I just say also, I watched this just yesterday. I'm on vacation with some college friends of mine. This was like
Fun.
the high.
Get
It
it?
wasn't
You
like quite the
have
highlight. It was
friends.
cool stuff. Um, and they're right here actually. No, but it was the perfect movie to watch with a bunch of like mid 30 somethings like on vacation
Yeah.
and like just looking for something to make fun of. But no, it was a blast. All right, so Demolition Man. We've got
All right, hold on.
Sylvester Stallone.
Pause. Jason Himmler has been threatening this all
Somebody has
week.
to just outbid. Somebody just has to outbid Jason.
Yeah, somebody has to outbid. For the love of God, I don't want to watch a Serbian film. And why is it whenever Allie's going to leave for a week, we have
I
to
know that we always
watch
watch the most
the
messed up
weird,
shit. I know.
twisted stuff?
I
No,
know.
says
Now
With the grind.
I did a class on art house films and how they have affected like the ongoing like experimental media, and so
The-
I have seen not all of but quite a lot of a Serbian film,
What are
and I
you-
never want to rewatch it, and so I never will. You guys can have fun without me next week.
All right. I make no promises that I will finish the movie. If I get like halfway through and decide I don't want to do this anymore, I'll like Venmo you $5 and I'll talk about half of it and then talk about something fun like Land Before Time or something.
Yeah.
I should also say, let me interject on this real quick.
Yeah.
We have a guest lined up for next week that I don't think I ever 100% solidified with you guys. So I doubt they're going to suggest a Serbian film. So
Oh yeah.
anyway,
Okay,
we'll keep that
I'm
in mind
sorry
for
that I'm going to
the
miss
following
the
week.
guest. I
Well,
look
then
forward
we
to
could
it.
it's a
just
good one too.
we could delay it a week and let Allie watch Serbian film anyway.
Hmm.
We never said we
We'll
would
see.
do it
We'll talk.
next week.
I would like Allie
Okay,
to be
well,
here for
The guest?
Great guest. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be here on the first.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
whatever.
Anyway, let's talk about this off air.
We'll figure it out.
No,
Also,
let's hash it out now.
Michael Romero, really quick. Let me just say, dude movie made for dudes is Insecurity. The title comes from a line in the movie where it says, somebody says something.
This sure was a lot of Demolition Man.
No. My alternate title I put as the AKA just for a placeholder was Insecure Heterosexual Males. Because
I was wondering why somebody said something about being insecure, and I was like, I feel like everyone's been acting really normal far, but
they can smell it on me.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was like, hey, Jesse's been acting very normal today. Leave him alone.
Yeah. And it's just a line from the movie, and I thought people would click on it and be mad. And well, this is why I'm a YouTuber. Hey. All right. Sorry. Go before we lose everyone now that I've revealed my secrets.
Wow. Okay, here we go. So we got a loose cannon cop played by Sylvester Stallone.
Did you have to look that up? What did you just look at?
I did. I have the Wikipedia page up. I just want to make sure I said the right name.
Look at your cracked phone.
You don't know Sylvester
It's so
Stallone?
bad. It's so bad.
Whoa. Now that was you were concerned about him having to look up who was in the movie. I was concerned about the state of your objects.
It's bad. It's pretty bad.
Woo.
All right. So Sylvester Stallone is a cop who's going off the rails all the time. And this is in the mid 90s. He gets stuff done, but he does it by, for example, accidentally killing 20 to 30 innocent hostages.
Also, maybe?
No, he doesn't.
Well, he at the scene of the crime, they counted about 20 dead hostages. But then later on, I think he was convicted for an even 30. Anyway, wow. That was all in service of catching the bad guy, Wesley Snipes. I had to look it up again. This is absurd.
Good grief. I thought you were a child of the 90s. You don't know these freaking people on site.
I was watching Nickelodeon, man. Anyway, he's got to catch Wesley Snipes, who's this like insane charismatic bad guy who's like sort of building this like,
and he plays one
empire.
In the movie.
He plays one too, but he's building this criminal empire, and he's like pretty good at it. And he's also, if I had to follow any of the psychos in this movie, I'm following Wesley Snipes. He was a cool guy. So anyway,
oh shit! Wait! We just got one-upped. $20 for not. Oh my god, we got a bidding war.
Put it in the vault.
This is great. Thanks, Michael. That's very sweet of you.
I mean,
yes, thank you.
There are other messed up movies out there that are less untalkaboutable in a YouTube video that we could I could reach into my art house film repertoire. We could watch some weird stuff.
You've gotten your one movie. Okay,
what's my one movie? All That Jazz?
All That Jazz. Yeah,
that's the most normal movie ever made.
Pretty normal. I gotta say, I've never heard of a Serbian film before, and just from the controversy it's caused in these first 10 minutes, I want to watch it.
Ooh, you should watch it with your college friends.
No. Look,
ruin your trip. Okay. Ruin your trip.
I already have.
Guys, remember, this is YouTube again. On YouTube, we got to draw things out. Stay to the end of the video to decide if we will, in fact, watch a Serbian film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm really interested.
And then smash that like button. Make sure to hit the bell.
Let's smash the bell.
Continue with this recap that is utterly useless for anyone that's been listening so far.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, all these hostages are killed. The police... What?
Jesus. Okay, Jason, seriously, stop giving... You're just throwing money into a corporate well. I don't get this money. I'll watch a damn Serbian film. Keep your money. Sorry, go ahead.
We only accept foreign currencies anyway.
Yeah. That's the ones they let us keep because they're too lazy to,
We should pick a charity. That'd be fun.
That's not a bad idea.
So, okay. So the police turn on one of their own. They decide that because all these hostages were killed, both the hero and the villain are equally responsible for these deaths. And so the punishment for both of them is to cryogenically freeze them, put them in icy jail for, I think it's like 40 years or something. But the bad guy, Wesley Snipes, gets unfrozen mysteriously after about, I think it's like 30 years or something. He gets unfrozen. His brain's been injected with all these like little tips and tricks of how to like navigate the future, which the future, now that it's just run by the woke mob and cops aren't allowed to kill anybody anymore.
Definitely, yeah.
Everybody's soft. They don't know how to deal with any crimes whatsoever. So Wesley Snipes is just running rampant. They decide the only way that they can counter that is to bring back Sylvester Stallone. And he spends the rest of the movie, doing all his bad boy cop things and proving that, the only way to have a functioning society is to let people eat red meat and curse and let cops shoot anybody they want.
and put their juices together.
Yeah.
It's pretty important
Oh,
part
and
too.
then mix all their juices. Yeah.
Can I
all their
ask
sex chemicals?
a question that I don't know if it is answered by the film or if I missed it or if it was not answered by the film. Is this specifically the culture of San Angeles, or is this the culture of America, or is this the culture of the world? Like, is it if you drive, 4.5 hours and you're in Arizona, are they like, oh, sorry, we don't have spicy food here, we don't have sex? Are they just like doing it and having burgers in trailer park?
I think they
like,
just
what's going on?
didn't. I think they just didn't think this through, because really a fundamental flaw of this is that like 30 years into the future is not nearly enough for all of the crazy changes to have taken place. And so I think they just didn't think big enough. Like it should have been 200 years in the future, and it should have been there's only like 2 major cities on the entire planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that was like my question, is that like they keep talking about how this is what life is like in San Angeles, and it was kind of spurred by this like horrible earthquake, and that kind of this was like sort of like the emotional and moral response to this this big old disaster. And so I was like, okay, earthquake was in California.
Well, here's the thing.
Idaho. Is life in Idaho kind of the same, and only in like the West Coast and only in California has life changed like this, and everywhere else everyone's like, no, I don't listen to the guy who looks like the Pope, he's weird.
I think so.
I'm gonna drive my car to work.
At one point, Wesley Snipes names other cities that he wants to control. Each of them only have the city names that we know. But the Pope-looking guy seems to imply that he might be able to give like Miami to Wesley Snipes and let him like run it. So I think this guy might be like gaining control of major American cities. But this one mega city with like 3 different California names combined is like the alpha.
So kind of regardless, it brings up a point. Somebody pointed out, and this is true. So Wesley Snipes didn't wake up sporadically. He was brought for parole or whatever, because he has been programmed by the Pope looking guy to assassinate the leader of ostensibly the resistance movement, right? So like if the whole upper world is sexless and emotionless, there's a whole dirty, sexy underground that eats rat burgers and like
they headed up by Dennis Leary.
Yeah, honestly, the more they kept being like, no, it's horrible, there's rats down here, I was like, you're saying all my favorite things. Like, keep going.
Well, he was like.
So, Dennis Leary's like big monologue toward the end. He talks about like why the underground must be able to thrive and all this shit. It honestly could be word for word from like a Tucker Carlson like diatribe. He was like, down here, like we have to be able to fuck and eat meat, and like if we don't, the woke mob upstairs is gonna like ruin the world. It was hard to tell what the moral compass of this film was.
Right, because but what he also says is, I want to cover myself in jello and run naked through the streets. And I'm like, no society has ever really let you do that. Like even this society, people are gonna be like, dude, it's so dirty.
Well, it's doing enough, buddy. If they keep on legalizing marijuana and and other progressive things,
all of the things that they wanted to do weren't even like. I understand what Jesse's saying, and that like life in San Angeles seems bad. And then the expectation is that they have like the pendulum has swung so far the other way down there that it's like this horrible lawless place. And it's like neither place is obviously correct, right? You're like, I don't want to live like that, but I don't want to live like that. And in reality, upstairs seems bad, but downstairs seems fine. And like a person being like, I want to like put myself in jello and run through the streets. You're like, look, maybe not for me. And I guess that is like against the law, but that's not like moralless, lawless, sick behavior. That's just like a guy doing a college prank.
that's
He's
fair.
like, no, I'm trying to pledge Phi Beta Kappa, and if I have to run through the quad with Jello on me. It's like college boy shit. It's not like horrible, lawless, like
right,
sick depravedness. It's like, I don't know. There
That's
could have
funny.
been some better writing there.
No, you actually make an excellent point, which is until this moment, I didn't even realize that was supposed to be the antithesis, because I realize now Sylvester Stallone comes up, he's like, what we need is that we all got to compromise. You get a little of this, you get a little of that. And like, it's not to say that actually the dirty people's way is right. It's that everybody's got some good ideas and we should compromise and be somewhere in the middle. But for that to make any sense, you're right. Like, they have to be way worse at the bottom, but they're not. They're just
way
like,
worse.
I just want to be naked and eat Jello.
Yeah,
and they're like,
it's literally like a guy just being like,
okay.
I think you should be able to eat a steak, and we're supposed to be like, oh boy, they've really gone nuts down here. It's like, okay, I don't know.
I want to run through the streets naked with Jello all over my body, reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly feel the need to. Okay, pal. And it's like,
okay, pal.
I give you half of that, but the other half has to be sexless. It's just it's a very funny compromise.
It's just like, I also, in the grand scheme of like what this movie is like skewering or satirizing, do you know what I mean? Like, my main question was about like the ethos of this future, because like part of it is that they're like new age woo woo kind of hippies, and then also part of it is that they're like insanely capitalist obsessed, and I like don't totally understand the correlation between the two of those. I think they're both really valid criticisms, and I certainly think they're valid criticisms of California. Do you know what I mean? Like of the plate. Like, I understand where this is coming from, but like, I don't understand why a culture that's like all about like wellness and connection, and we don't even need to touch to, do you know what I mean? It's sort of like kind of wandering into like a hippie cult that like lives off the land. But then there's this other subset that are like, no, we love consumerism, and we listen to commercials, and it's all about the goods, except that we don't even have money anymore. We just like exchange in like credits and vibes, but we love consumerism, but also it's all about your heart. We don't even sex anymore. They did not feel related to me in a cultural way.
That all ties together so perfectly for me. And I think this movie is just a walking embodiment of the future liberals want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's like the which future liberals want. Like,
well, but that's the thing. It doesn't, as a liberal, not to out myself as a liberal here on this show, but as a liberal, like, yeah, this seems nonsensical, but you can tell, you can see somebody like, you can see like your worst uncle be like making up this straw man. Basically, this society in the movie is a straw man made up by, a Tucker Carlson type. That's why these things don't make sense to us.
Joe Biden's future. That's what he wants. But
I don't
like,
know, they felt in some ways directly opposed as these sort of like dual ethos of what this world is like. And like, as the straight man protagonist who's like walking around being like, this is all so crazy. Like, it didn't feel like I knew what he was going to react. I just didn't feel like I knew what he was going to react to next, because like, if a character has one thing that they're like, this is so weird and so different, then you're like, oh, I understand. Like, he wants to go back to a world where, you don't listen to commercials on your car radio, and there's not only one restaurant in town, and blah, blah, blah. Like, he's hungrier for the days of like good old capitalism, where we could just sort of like, the free market. But then it's also like, he's like, oh, I don't believe in how you guys go to the bathroom or have sex or shake hands or can't curse or can't, do you know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute. So now you just don't like everything?
It's very, he wants to go back. He wants to make America great again in many ways. He wants to go back to this like fictional past that like, is it possible to go back to?
I do think the having no money thing, I agree. I think I think Jesse's right. Like, it's sort of if the future was super, super liberal, then it is weird because of the no sex thing. Like, that part is slightly confusing, because you would think it would be more dirty hippies running through the streets. But
Yeah.
it's like there's no free speech anymore, man. And so it's like
Yeah.
it's the
They
I
want to
guess
take all the fun out. They want to take the salt out of the food and the fluids out of the sex.
yeah, it's like the fascist thing where it's like, oh, we're all drones now, bro, and like we can't do anything. And even though fascism is kind of
Yeah.
the other direction, but it's like I think it's just supposed to be fascism light. I mean, her name Huxley,
Yeah.
surely is Brave New World. The author
Yeah,
of Brave
totally.
New World.
And like
And
also like all
so-
this stuff about sex is also kind of from 1984-ish, where like you can still have sex to procreate, but they've banned orgasm. You're like specifically in 1984, like you can't like the pleasure part of sex has been outlawed, and so like it is only a tool for reproduction, whatever, recreation. Do you know what I mean? It's like they stole a little bit from all of these things. And again, like I'm not trying to say like, hey, why aren't the things we're talking about on TV in 2022, 2023 in this movie from 20 years ago? But it is obviously trying to make a political statement. It is obviously trying to say something. I just think that something's a little confused and I don't really understand what it wants me to like laugh at or satirize or look at in a new way.
Well, here's the other really confusing thing. So obviously, taking at face value, this is one of the purest examples of propaganda I've ever seen, which is like,
oh my god,
in the future,
we gotta let them go nuts and do whatever they want. Otherwise, the future will be bad.
Yeah, it's like
they literally say. They literally have a cop say, "What are we supposed to do? We're cops. We don't know how to respond to violence or something like that."
Yeah, and it's like, which in and of itself could actually be a really funny satire, right? Like if it just straight-facedly, kind of like RoboCop, right? Like RoboCop is that, but subtle, where it's like you think the RoboCop is kind of a badass, but you're also like, do you actually want a soulless murder machine patrolling your streets? I don't think so. Whereas this is like, yeah, you do, because it rocked. But that's the other thing that's funny is they're like, none of the police know how to respond to anything, right? But all the dirty underground people have guns and shit. What? Yeah, why don't they just take over? There's literally nothing. They can't even. They don't even know how to arrest you. Literally, they could just come up from the ground, gun everyone down, and take over. But they're like, we can't get up there. Oh, they're so rich.
No, you know why? Because they spend all their time making graffiti robots and drawing slogans on everything.
Yeah, they're busy.
But it's such a funny. It's just a funny conceit where you're like, okay, well, Wesley Snipes has been introduced and he's crazy and he has guns, so that makes sense that you need a cop. But it's like, oh, but there's like a bunch of dirty gun wielding crazy people living underground that are honestly pissed.
There was one line that like I was like, well, that aged pretty well, which was when one of the cops sort of like helplessly is like, we're police officers, we're not trained to handle this kind of violence. Right. And I was like, all right, that's a funny joke.
Exactly. That was so funny, but like they didn't mean for it to be funny to us, I think.
See, I
think they wanted us to say, yeah, you're right, because
you don't think that they wanted that to be funny?
They wanted it to be like, this is what cops would be like if liberals take over.
I agree.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree.
It took me a while to get there. I respect you. If you don't see it that way, I see this as pro cop, but I didn't for a while. So, but I'm interested then to hear your take on this.
I guess I'm still sort of. I guess I'm paying more attention now than I ever did during the 2-hour course of the movie, which is, I guess, like, okay, this is just like a general thing. Sometimes when people talk about movies, any movie, they'll be like, you're looking at this through a 2020 lens. And I'm like, no, history existed in the 90s
Someone
too.
said
like,
that already.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you think about like the Los Angeles riots, like what year do you think it was? Do you know what I mean?
No, Los Angeles cops were great in the 90s. I can't.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody
like, when
thought
people
they were
are like,
cool.
all this cop criticism is so now, and it's like, it might be more in your consciousness now because you were just 3 when it happened. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, again, like I'm not trying to say this,
it's like getting to 3rd grade and being like, whoa, they just invented multiplication and division.
No, I can't believe they came up with this now when I have to learn it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's, every 3rd grader had to learn this. It really sucks. Sorry. Like
Rodney King was 2 years before this, so it's like it's not. Like it had to
So,
be in everybody's general consciousness.
yeah,
So I get
everybody
your
was thinking
point.
about it. And then if this movie was released in 1993, that means it was being written when that shit was happening. Do you know what I'm saying? And so like
Hmm.
again, I'm not trying to say this in a way that's like high and mighty, like history. It's just that like I really mean like sometimes
That's
when
our new
people
podcast name.
yeah, hi
History.
history. It's just one of those things where it's like many of the issues that you talk about today fully and totally existed in the past. They either just weren't as publicized because there either wasn't like as much of like a rallying cry from the general public to get behind it, or you were a child and rightfully didn't know about it because you were playing in sticks in mud like Jordan.
Jumping on that trampoline, man.
Yeah. And again, you were not supposed to be 7 years old with a fully formed brain. You were supposed to be playing in mud. Like it's better for you. But like now that you're 30, you're allowed to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe police weren't great in 1993 in LA. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You're allowed to like go read an article or whatever and change your mind.
But they throw me candy at parades.
Okay. So thematically, very confusing. What they're trying to say, the satire stuff, I will say, just as a general, that was by far the most interesting part of the movie for me because I thought the action, I mean, somebody's going to yell at me for this. The action kind of sucked. I mean, it was a lot of, I wrote down, how can these superheroes possibly be so inaccurate? And I know that's like a movie trope.
Wait, what? Superheroes?
Would you watch again?
Wesley Snipes is the greatest villain of all time. Simon Phoenix rising from the ashes, and Sylvester Stallone is the Demolition Man of which prophecy foretold, the only cop who can save humanity. And they're like 8 feet apart, like damn it, he got away.
I mean, the classic like the gun doesn't work kind of situation happen all the time.
But it's like I've never seen it to this degree where it's like there's actually not that many deaths. It's just every piece of glass in 1,000-mile radius gets shattered. And I was
Would you say it gets demolished?
Yeah, was it demolished?
I will say that blowing up the building was sick as hell. I was like, that was a real building. And I looked it up and it was a real building.
And it was a real building. Wasn't there like a competition to like be like, we could blow something up in your hometown, apply here?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't read
I think it was like I think it was a real building, and it also was like a publicity thing where they were like, do you have a building in town that needs to get blown up? You should apply and we'll do it in your town.
Yeah. I didn't see that, but that's awesome.
I love that.
I hope I didn't make that up.
It's fact now. It's canon. Let me defend the action because I was captivated by it in a way that I'm often not. Like, this isn't my kind of movie, but it struck me that it felt like I was watching like a Batman show at Six Flags. So I don't know if everybody has that, but you know how like at theme parks they had these like action-packed like fire and explosions and like, you know, they had like stuntmen like doing all kinds of stuff. It felt like I was like sitting front row at that during this movie. It doesn't mean it's a good action sequence for a movie, but I was like all in, man. I was captivated like a little baby.
So, okay. So I'm obviously something of an action movie connoisseur myself.
Yeah, I would say it's like it's kind of your bread and butter, which is why like I didn't notice the action being particularly boring or bad, but like I'm interested in your opinion way more than mine.
Hold on.
What do you mean you didn't say it? You said it was bad.
No, sorry.
Oh.
I'm yelling at the comments. Brent, I didn't say anything yet. Jesse said it. I didn't.
No, I did. I made fun of you.
Oh, Allie. Well, I didn't say it. It's not. Shut up.
Didn't say what?
Okay.
Somebody
didn't say what? Wait. What didn't you say? Say it in words. Say it in a full sentence.
I didn't say a damn thing, and you can't make me.
This is entrapment.
So, this question, I guess, is for you then. So, like, the reason I made us all watch The Raid is because that to me is endlessly fascinating fight scenes. And so by contrast, like what even is it? It's just like beefy dudes kind of, and somebody pointed out like Wesley Snipes did some martial arts. I'm like in the loosest sense of he kicked things. Like,
yeah, and
I guess,
isn't he also like a really excellent martial artist? Like
yeah,
in his own right?
He is and can do lots of things. And they had that weird like bam.
Oh, dude, the rap scratches and stuff, so funny. It's just like an old Batman movie with the pows and the zaps, but updated for the 90s. So good.
They had Sandra Bullock do some kicking and swirling, and stuff, and that looked pretty good. Whether it was her or her stunt double, I don't really know, but like that
Just
looked pretty good.
While we're on that subject, do we know if that was Sandra Bullock's boob that we see in the cyber
There's
sex?
no way.
There was a
way.
boob. I didn't see no boob.
There's a flash or two of boob.
It was a stock footage boob. They just found a boob on the street and filmed
Oh
it.
my god.
Alamo. How many nipples does Alamo's stock photos have?
I really feel like I'm losing my edge to be like I missed more than one nipple.
Well,
in this
Jesse and I
movie.
were pretty locked in. I was pretty locked in just in case. I was like, I
was in a house full of bros, and this scene was everybody knew it was coming up. This is the highlight.
I actually thought that
ooh, that's a title. That's an alt title right
that's
there.
a good title. I liked the I mean, like I understand that it's like bad because it's like impersonal and stuff, but like when they were showing the flashes of just like Sandra Bullock enjoying herself and kind of like sexy noises, like I did find that quite hot.
Oh,
that's brave of you to say.
But it was like interesting lighting and just like hints of a woman aroused. Like I was like, that's sexy. I wouldn't want that to be the be all end all of what intimacy is, but like I it didn't not work for me.
Yeah, I feel like I would ride it out. I'd give it a shot.
Me too. Then, I wouldn't have ripped it off, is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I would have at least seen what happened.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's also a weird thing where it's hard to tell. It's hard to tie together some of the threads because, like, maybe this is more as a kid because I've seen clips of this growing up. But that scene is something that like every kid like loves. They recall seeing that scene as like, this is so cool. This is so close to sex. It's good. And then you realize, oh, the point of this is that it's actually bad. But you're right. It's treated very sensually, very like. Sexily.
Is it really that unsettling? Like. It's
no,
it wasn't
no.
like, okay, like something that it reminds me of is in that first season of Black Mirror where everybody can film and replay stuff, and there's like a really good scene where this couple that's obviously not into each other anymore are having sex but replaying sex from their past in their mind, so they're like watching a hotter sex scene while they have boring sex. That was like really interesting and like, oh, yikes, like unsettling. This was just like sexy little images and sexy noises against like a euphoria, like, black background with green lighting. Like it wasn't not meant to look sexy. Again, I'm not saying I want to give up like whatever like intimacy we have now to like go put like a thing on my head, but like I don't know. It was just kind of weird. It was weird to me that he like ripped it off and was like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "It was,
yeah,
it was Sandra Bullock coming." Like, what do you want me to say? Like, that's what it was. Like,
if they wanted to make it awful, it would look like all these like it would look like the metaverse.
It'd be the metaverse,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. That would be like torsos only, no legs, people sitting at a table like, and be like, yeah, this is sex, exactly, 100%. I fully agree with you. They shot it too sexy for it to be not sexy.
Yes,
I agree. Very sexy. This is why I was locked in, and Jesse and I both saw that boob and
how do I fucking miss it?
High five across space and time.
Sick.
Really quickly though, before we get away from this action stuff, because I was accused of having not seen It Man in the comments, which is very distressing.
What is
that?
I
think it's actually really good. You would actually like it. It's basically I want to say a Chinese martial artist, but now I feel bad because I'm not sure. Anyway, in World War II, they're occupied by Japan, and he just happens to be. There's one scene in particular where basically the Japanese general or whatever in charge of the occupation is fascinated with martial arts, and he's like, I got the best martial arts fighters. And Ip Man, who is basically a monk, is like, okay, fine. And he's so pissed at all the atrocities he's seen, he just massacres a bunch of these dudes, and it's the best thing ever. And then anyway, it's great. I want to say it's
fun.
Yeah, it really sounds like you saw it.
Is it Donnie?
It sounds
okay,
like
I was going to say it's Donnie Yen, who I believe was also in Rogue One.
I feel like it kind of has that like the sort of RRR vibe of like getting a crack team in to upset the imperialists or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's a lot more like drama forward.
Cool.
It's not as like it's not meant that the whole point of that scene is the violence is extremely shocking. It's like oh, I don't actually want him to do this, but this is how frustrated he is with Japan. Anyway, it's great. My point, though, the thing that I wanted to talk about was what I want to do is create a world. No, I want to I want to remake a bunch of these 90s movies with the guys from the Raid. Like, I think this plot would be so fun if the action, if I gave even half a crap, like about the fight. Like, yeah, John Wick, somebody's mentioning, like, that's really great gunplay. We've evolved a lot since the 90s where it's like action is explosions. It's not really fighting. It's like guns firing, and people are just like, whoa, so many bullets. Whereas now I think we're finally getting to a point, even superhero movies had this for a while, where they're like, what if smash into whole building? And finally,
right. And then you go through like 3 buildings in a row.
Yeah,
there was
like,
a while
how many
where
buildings?
superhero movies loved that one for sure. Yeah.
And now we're finally getting like Shang-Chi or whatever, where they can actually like fight besides just being invincible and punch so hard. They have some skills. I just think this movie would be really interesting. So apparently, full circle, Jackie Chan was originally approached to play Wesley Snipes' character. And if Jackie Chan had been Wesley Snipes' character, it would have been freaking rad, because every single fight would have been some
would
crazy
it have
stunt.
though? Because they probably wouldn't have let him do it. If Wesley Snipes can do it, and they didn't let him do it, would they have let Jackie Chan do it?
Well, maybe not, because he said no. So I assume that if he agreed to it, that he would have been allowed to do.
I did like, though, when later in the movie, Sandra Bullock is like whipping her legs around, and Sylvester Stallone's like, "Oh, where'd you learn that?" And she's like, "I watched a lot of Jackie Chan movies," as if just like watching by osmosis is enough to like make you a black belt.
She studied so hard that she became a super cop.
I kind of loved it. I know that it was dumb, but I also was like,
yeah, that
sums up my feelings on this entire movie. It was so dumb, but I loved it.
Yeah,
you did have the benefit. So I'm sitting here angrily considering budgets while I'm watching Demolition Man by myself on my laptop, being like, I hate this. I hate watching this. I don't want to do this. And you're sitting there with all your fratty bros being like,
boys,
oh, a shot every
pause it now.
Yeah,
a shot every time we see a boob, which is one
like, guys,
shot.
Demolition Man is for the boys.
Right. It's
and so I get
mean,
that.
I will say, like, this is not my kind of movie, just like in general.
Demolition.
Yeah, it's just like, I just don't like Demolition. No, just like I didn't watch this when I was younger, so I don't have like a nostalgic attachment to it. And like an action movie is just like never like my go-to. Like my friend has a phrase that I like where he'll just be like, "This is not my ministry." Do you know what I mean? It's like, not to say like I think it's bad or anything like that, but it's just like, this is just not my domain. Like, this is not my thing.
Sure.
I like when it was fun, it was really fun. And when there were moments for the characters to have fun and interact with the world in a sort of simple way, I did kind of enjoy it. Like the Taco Bell thing, like really gave me I was like a true laugh out loud moment for me. And then like, even just like them going to a big fancy dinner, with them calling it Taco Bell, like little moments like that, where it's like simple. It's like the simplicity of the writing of just being like fish out of water, funny expectations about the 90s. Just kidding, it's the future. Like when those moments landed for me, I thought they were like excellent. I just spent more time than not confused and not quite understanding the world. But like when it did work, I thought it worked fantastically. And like when there were some fun moments between like Sandra Bullock's character and Sylvester Stallone, like when there was like, again, like simple, easy to understand moments of just like, I'm like this and I'm like this, we're so different. When those moments like were well written and like delivered, I thought they both were good actors. I thought they both had some charming back and forth. I kind of believed their chemistry. Like, it wasn't like a miss for me, but I spent way more time being like, what? Hold on a second. There's no money because we believe in goodness and kindness and wellness, but we love commercials for products. Who's buying products? I just like, I felt too like,
the idea that they cut out everything bad. Like you can't even have salt, but they all eat a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
No, but it was saltless. But it was well, right. It was just gross. It was probably just gross ground beef.
but why is it even? Anyway. It doesn't matter. It's just
I have a feeling some of that is a vestigial like appendage from earlier drafts. Like I think it was a mistake for them to say, "Oh, we got rid of capitalism," because I think at one point like hypercapitalism, got rid of money, because I think at one point hypercapitalism was like a central tenet, right? But then they were like, "Well, okay, we're gonna have them get rid of money, but like we already like all the funny things we said about Taco Bell, so we're just gonna keep that."
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
And I
probably
guess, like,
true.
I think it would be kind of funny if they were like leaning so hard into the like we got rid of capitalism thing of being like, is it true back in your day you had to advertise for products because there were so many products that you had to decide which one to buy? You know what I mean? Like that. So like Sylvester Stallone could be like, yeah, there were like 100 different cereals, and then just being like, that's crazy. 100 different cereals? Tell us about all the cereals. You know what I mean? Like, but instead they were just sort of like, yeah, no, like we love the idea of products, but we reject wanting them. Instead, we just get fed slap, and we love it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that part is goofy, where it's like we like to sing about products that don't exist anymore, I guess, because every food is Taco Bell, presumably. So everybody's been yelling about the three seashells.
Seashells. I mean, that was a really funny line.
Should we mention that, or?
I mean, one of my I will say that one of my alternate titles that I was going to pitch was the 3 seashell problem.
Oh my god, the 3 body problem reference?
But it's the 3 seashell problem.
Because
here's the thing. He had a problem. He didn't know what to do with them.
So
as I understand, I love the way that he solved it. That was actually literally my favorite part of the whole movie. Him just like going up to the credit thing, swearing at it so it'd print out a bunch enough paper. I was like, that's perfect. Christopher Nolan would have done that. The guy who he does such a good job of always taking his premise and having fun with it. I was like, perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That and the cybersex scene are the 2 big ones that I remember from seeing this as a child.
I bet.
Yeah. I bet. But yeah,
both
that was
of them
funny.
Equally titillating.
Also, I was on IMDb and I was looking up like fun facts. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. What's the name of the actor who's now very famous and he's in a lot of comedic stuff, and he was like one of the funny cops?
Oh, yeah. I forgot his name.
Bob Schneider. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So there was a fun fact on IMDb that I literally wrote underneath it in my notes. This can't be true, which was like, Rob Schneider and Sandra Bullock became really close friends while on the set of Demolition Man. She kept talking about her next project, which involved a high-speed bus chase. And Rob kept saying, oh, Sandra, you got to get out of that project. It sounds like a huge flop. And I was like, this never happened. There's no way. There's no way that Rob Schneider was like, speed? Really, Sandra? I think you got to find another project. Like, this never happened. I don't know how.
Why don't you hop on Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo?
Literally, I was like, there's no way. And there's no way that Sandra Bullock was like, oh, Rob, you scamp. I'm already committed to the project.
Forever.
This never happened.
So let's talk about. I want to talk about Rob Schneider because, like, his presence is something that confused me as I was watching this. I've eventually landed on. I think this is propaganda, but at first I thought it was more of like an Idiocracy-esque, like, satirical romp. So you see Rob Schneider there. And I seem to remember, I meant to look this up, but like, hasn't he sort of come down on the wrong side of like many social and political issues in the last few years?
If you think I'm following what Rob Schneider's up to, you are sorely mistaken. I have no idea. I don't know what he says, thinks, does, or goes. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. Well, so he's right. So he's turned into kind of a jagoff in some ways. So I was like, oh, this is weird to see him sort of like making fun of cops. I thought was what his character was doing, because I thought he was probably more on the side of, people who would be into making a propaganda movie. And then I started realizing, oh, this movie's pro cop. And this is like an early, like, Rob Schneider being like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to stick it to the libs. I don't know.
But also, like, not to give people like an out.
I don't think he had any say in anything. I also
think like people 20 years ago might not have the same views that they have now, largely because, like, a lot of what you believe is like what you spend 16 hours a day having on your television. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like I don't know what he used to feel 20 years ago.
That's true, but
there's also no money in it in a way that there is now. Like, like Rob Schneider is partially, presumably, like a lot of these kind of comedians, they're kind of doing this stuff to stay relevant and to get an audience because the comedy thing isn't really working out anymore. And so it's a lot of this like, but now I'm crazy. Like who's the comedian that like does all the like Republican fundraising things or whatever, and he's always his thing is that he's like a parrot or a peacock.
Jim Brewer.
Yeah, where it's like I don't even know that he cares. I think he's just
trying to make money.
You gotta make money somehow, dude. So
Yeah.
I don't know if Rob Schneider's been sitting there like, now's my chance to finally reveal.
Well, sure, but also,
yay, Senator Palpatine, he's here.
Yes.
But you also don't really, but like Jim Brewer is sort of an outlier. Like you don't see like Adam Sandler didn't play this part. Like there could have been other comedians who were offered this part and were like, oh, this is like doesn't align with my morals or my politics. I don't really want in. And maybe Rob Schneider was like,
sometimes it is fun to see these movies. I mean, like for me, it's more fun to watch stuff like when we were watching I Love You Man, and I was like seeing people who would go on to be like very famous comedians or like people who could like helm their own movie, but like were like just like a friend of Rashida Jones. Like it's like I feel like maybe it's more of that kind of thing where it's just like, oh shit, I got my first big budget blockbuster movie. I get to finally not have to do that commercial for dog food this year. Do you know what I mean? And also, like, did you see Jack Black was in this movie for like a hot second?
Yes. He was like he was one of the little underground.
Yeah, he was like a scrapper or whatever you call it. It's not like he had like a funny.
He gets like hit in the face or something. I forget.
It's not like he has like a funny moment or anything. He doesn't like play guitar or say skadoosh or whatever. He just like he just kind of like is in the movie. But like I'm sure it was a big paycheck, and if you're a dude trying to make it, like you're not gonna turn down playing scrapper number 3.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that blows up my Rob Schneider theory.
I don't know. You might be right. He might have just been like, yes, this is how I will reveal in the future. But
well,
I don't know.
That's what I was saying. Is I just don't think that I think he was. Yeah, he's in the movie that because he's not a pivotal. You know, they're asking Sylvester Stallone to be on the movie. They're asking Jackie Chan. Rob Schneider. They're like, do you want it? And so he's presumably like, yes, please.
Well, wait, what was his first? I almost feel like he was a big get around this time because his first line was something very similar to like one of his like big SNL catchphrases, right? Like you could. He almost delivered it in the Macon Copies voice, whatever his first line was. So I feel like this was like a bit of a gem for them. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Also, for whatever reason, Wikipedia tells me that he was a Democrat from 1984 to 2013, a Republican from 2013 to 2017, and now from 2017 to now, independent. Yeah, he's been dead for 5 years.
And dead from then on. I was happy to see the actor Bob Gunton, who is very talented. You remember the guy from like Shawshank Redemption and stuff?
Oh my god, yes. Ugh.
He was really good as always. Yeah. You know, like
he crushed.
He crushed. What can I say? He crushed.
I'm just kidding. Yes.
So we were going to talk about the shells briefly. So is it understood? Like, I think I know how they work. Yeah. I like people like lots of civilizations used to do this, and I think there's still people that still do this with like a series of shells or rocks or like corn cobs or whatever.
Is this true? Okay, I can't tell if this is like a long play bit or if
no. This is not. This is not. Okay, this is not a joke. This is what I'm reaching into the depths of like what I learned in high school.
RD claims that this is a pro action hero movie and not a pro cop movie, which would make sense given that Last Action Hero came out at the same time. That's it. Continue.
Totally. Yeah.
Sure, but okay, but who was this action hero? Just happened to be a cop, you know.
They all did back in those movies. Like
we only had cops. We didn't invent Spider-Man until 2008.
Oh my god, that's true. Well, we had Howard Warner, but
you're really good at getting comments on things, Jordan. Jordan is Jordan is the king of saying something that everyone's going to comment on.
Yeah,
but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, we didn't have Spider-Man until 2001 when he swung between the two towers, and then the Twin Towers, and then they had to cut it out of the trailer. Remember that?
I do, and I honestly I spent most of that movie going, where were you? Why didn't you stop it, Spider-Man?
There you go.
He has
When
never been
wait,
held
after
accountable
Jesse
for
tells
his
us
role.
after Jesse tells us how you wipe your butt with a corn cob, which I'm very interested to hear, then I will tell you how I experienced the movie Spider-Man in the year 2001. Go, Jesse.
Did you also have
Great.
something in and or around your butthole?
No.
Well, all right. I guess it'll
You
still be an okay story. Go.
You just scrape your butthole with the shell, and I think it could be. I forget. I think we do see it in the movie, but I forget what it looks like. But it's like it could be varying sizes, but it's basically just like a progression of like, okay, first scoop is for most of the shit. The next shell is like slightly cleaner, so you get you get the bits, and then the third shell is just for vanity or whatever. But like public toilets
You got a date.
used to have a like rocks on a shelf. It was like communal ass wiping rocks. This is real. I forgot. I should have looked it up too, but I forget what society this was. But yeah, it was very common.
I mean, I assume they dump off the excess.
They probably do.
wrong?
They probably scrub it. I don't know if they wouldn't have had running water, so you wouldn't be able to really clean it. But you do probably like knock it against the side or whatever to get the poop off. But anyway, yeah, it's just you scrape poop off your beehole, and people have done that for millennia.
Great.
Well,
Okay, changing the subject. When I went to go see, but this is just a tangent. So if you want to be mad at me, you can be mad at me. When I went to
I
go
will.
see Spider-Man, I went with my grandparents and my 2 older cousins. But we also had to take my little brother, who's 6 years younger than I am. So he was about like 5 years old. And we really wanted to see Spider-Man because it had come out that weekend. Okay, Rome had sponges on a stick. Very
That's
smart.
what I was thinking of. Yeah, good looks.
But my grandparents were like, there's no way we're taking your brother to see it. He's 5 years old. He's going to be terrified. So we went to go see Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron instead, which was an animated movie about a horse. It's not very good. But
is that
what
the one,
ended up...
that's the one where none of them talk, right? It's implied whinnying volumes and stuff. My sisters loved that movie.
I'm going to tell you why I don't remember this. What happened in that movie? What really happened is that my oldest cousin went, okay, I'm going to say I need to go to the bathroom and I'm going to go see what's happening in Spider-Man. And then I'll come back and tell you guys. And then Rebecca, you can go. And then my cousin Rebecca would go. And then she would watch what happened in Spider-Man. And then she'd come back and report back. And then I would go. And then I would go watch like 10 minutes of Spider-Man. And then I would come back and report back. And like, that is how I experienced that movie for the first time. It was really fun. We were like, oh my God, the Green Goblin is his friend's dad. We'd be like, are you kidding? They'd be like, no, I'm not kidding. You got to go see. And then we'd like go down the hall. We'd be like, okay, his friend died.
Fun.
It was crazy.
That's a scene that's sort of like the first like sharing of Netflix passwords, but it's also a scene like right out of Pen 15. That would
100%. Except that they would have been going to see some like erotic French film or something and like trying to explain what like sexual acts had just happened. In Pen 15, they go see Titan.
Wait, really?
No,
I would be surprised. Okay.
Well, timing wise doesn't make sense because it's not the right time. In the spec script of Pen 15 that takes place in this year, yes.
My friends still make fun of me because when we were like 16, probably 17, too old for me to be, I guess not 17, 15 or 16, too old to be worried about this. We went to see Brother Solomon, which is like this terrible comedy with like Will Forte and Will Arnett, I think. Something like that.
Heard of it.
Yeah.
It's about them. They're like trying to have a kid. I don't really remember it, but of course we were only 15, so we had to buy tickets to something else. And the guy came in with the wand. I was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta go pee!" And I ran. I was like, "I'm not getting in trouble. I'm a good kid." Ironically, I did get suspended a little bit later, but it's fine.
Were you a kid who like never got detention, never got anything when you were in school? You were like a really good kid.
I got in trouble a lot. But I didn't want to get in trouble with like a business. I don't know if that even makes any sense. At school, I didn't mind. I got whatever. I used to fight.
Jordan's a good capitalist.
Jordan used to fight. I like that. Jordan used to fight at school.
Not a lot, just like a little bit. I was just like,
no, that's fun. I feel like Jesse did. I feel like Jesse was like, I never got detention. I never got suspended. I was a really good kid.
One kid touched my trombone, and I was pretty upset. But no, not me. I'm being Jesse right now. It's
a trumpet, but I know you did that on purpose.
They're all the same. Anyway, we should talk about this movie. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Wait, really quick. In the original script, and they maybe filmed it. Sylvester Stallone mentions that he has a daughter and kind of like wants to see his daughter, but he thinks it's weird
Yeah,
because
yeah.
she's too old. They had a whole subplot where that was going to happen more intentionally, but the audiences thought that Sandra Bullock was his daughter, and so when they had
Oh,
the
I
sex
thought that
scene,
too.
they were very like, and so they were
Well,
like,
why did they think what like old boy fantasy was the audience playing out where they have sex? Like, what's going on here?
I thought that was going to be
wanted
like
it
the
to be
weird,
that. That's a
the
really
weird,
good
gross
You
twist.
wanted it to be that, you sicko? Say that to the camera. Look right down the barrel of the camera and say that.
I want Sandra Bullock and Sylvester Stallone to be related and to have helmet sex. I said it.
Why did
I'm not
people
even
think they were?
ashamed of it.
I
Why
thought
did
I
they
thought that was going
think
to be the
that?
twist. Here's the thing: they kept on teasing it. They kept on being like, "Oh, like what about his family? Okay, wife's dead. What about his daughter?" Then Sandra Bullock okay. Then Sandra Bullock they're in the car, and she says, "I could
look up where
pull
she
up your
is,
daughter,"
yeah.
and he's like, "No, no, 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 no." So I thought, like, oh shit, he knows that she's his daughter.
Oh, this is one of those Jesse things
Huh.
where he was like, I thought it was going to be revealed that Wesley Snipes was the literal devil, and he was going to come out of the ground in a big ball of fire. And then I got to the end of the movie and was so disappointed when it turns out it's just another action movie. Yeah, gotcha.
No, but it seemed like that could have been the twist. Because also, I think another reason why people thought that is because it was so strictly non-sexual, the relationship for most of it. You know,
Except
leading
for
up
when
until
they have
had,
sex.
until they get to
Well,
the helmet sex part. Until then,
They
you're
weren't
like, I
worried
guess,
about the
is
sex
she, like,
until they have it.
is he like taking her under his wing? Like, there's no sexual. She doesn't have any sexual energy. She's just sort of like cute most of the time, but she doesn't look like she wants to like suck his virtual dong or anything.
I guess something that I did think was going to happen that didn't happen is that, like, I thought they were going to have exchange of fluids or whatever they
did
called
have that
it.
non-consensual kiss right at the end.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought that, like, he was going to be like, you love the 20th century so much. Why don't I show you?
Why don't you marry it?
Why don't you marry it? Like, why don't I show you, like, what we used to do? And that she was going to be like, oy, oy, oy. Like, I don't know. I thought there was going to be a thing where, like, they, like, he brings her into the ways of the old world. And then I was sort of surprised that that never happened.
It does feel like, you know, if she learned how to fight based on watching Jackie Chan movies, it seems like it could, like, she has to be aware. I mean, I guess they sort of get around that by her being like, I know what it is, but it's gross, which is not unfair. It's great, but it's pretty gross. So I could see, especially if you're just watching it. So I can see why that would have been a weird thing where she's like, I've seen it. It's gross. He's like, no, with me, it's great.
He does. I mean, yeah, he does say, "Oh, it's too bad. I was a really good kisser."
Yeah, right. He does say that.
Yeah, there was also a line that she had that was like, after AIDS, there was NRS, and after NRS, there was SNL, and after SNL, there was UCB, and after UCB, there was the pit. And it was like,
COVID-19.
What are we talking about? Yeah, it was kind of.
They had a lot of extra. Extra diseases.
It was kind of funny that they kind of took some stabs in the dark at like what the future might be like, you know,
in so many ways.
But honestly, but holy shit, like the like not touching when you shake hands, hello, happened.
Well, yeah, it would be really funny if they were like, hey, the elbows.
Yeah, that would have been much more realistic. Yeah.
This is a total aside, but David, we literally just sort of made a video talking about this.
A little bit, yeah. Honestly, it'd be fun to like lean more into it and just do like full on a Bond one. But
yeah, the idea of why don't we have a crazy female sex maniac who is also the hero rather than just like destroying everybody's morality.
There is a reason why, and it goes all the way back to medieval times. So enjoy this video when it comes out.
Yeah, hopefully it's good.
I can't. Well, I was in it, so I can't guarantee anything about it.
You guys got anything else other than?
I don't think so. Oh, I wrote down one more thing that was a fun fact on IMDb that I was like, this can't be true. This can't be true. This can't be true. Which was Wesley Snipes hated his blonde dye job and shaved his head as soon as filming was complete. After this movie's release, professional NBA player Dennis Rodman began dyeing his hair different colors, a look that was inspired by Simon Phoenix.
No, it wasn't. That would
can't
be
be
sick.
Oh,
But no.
I've read that. I don't know if it is true, but
that he
that-
on the record was like, "Y'all seen Demolition Man? I want to be that guy," and that's why he did it. There's no way.
I mean, he's like a cool action star guy. I mean, I don't know. It made some money. It doesn't matter. It's real. It's real if you believe it is. Yeah, anything is possible. That's another
I just
basketball
don't
player.
buy it.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
little bit too convenient. It's definitely somebody was like, "Wouldn't that be cool if?" And then they just like logged into IMDb.
Yeah. Or it would just be like
Where did he get the idea from?
Jesse,
If not this
famously
stupid
seen
movie?
wearing a hat, was inspired by
No, it's a lot more than a hat. It's like a freaking blonde
Male pattern baldness.
angular-
was inspired by motherfucker. I don't know, I was trying to think of a famous character that wears hats, and I literally the minute I
Oh,
said it, I went, I can't think of any hats. I can't
Charlie
think of
Brown.
Charlie
no,
Brown.
well,
He doesn't wear
that's just
hats,
bald
he's
guy.
bald.
He doesn't wear. I was thinking bald. I was thinking bald guys.
Quick, somebody name a character that wears a hat.
Cat.
freaking Judge
Cat in the
Dredd.
Hat.
Another Sylvester Stallone cop movie. Okay. A couple of quick things I had, which is to your point about society changing that much in only 30 years or whatever, 40
Yeah.
years. Where did he get a British accent? That was pretty
Who had a
weird.
British accent?
The Pope. And it was
Yeah,
just like,
he was weird.
Oh, yeah.
And his little
and-
assistant who was dressed exactly like Nathan Lane in the birdcage. What was happening there?
I love that guy. He's a little, like, yeah.
And then the other
Yeah.
thing is, this is actually the first movie. This might also be apocryphal, but I believe it's true. This is the first movie to ever take its product placement and localize it to everywhere that the movie came out. So in other countries,
That's so sick.
they're eating at Pizza Hut, which makes no sense because I know the food looks not like Taco Bell, but it certainly doesn't look like Pizza Hut. If you were like, oh, it's fancy.
Hey, a lot
Pizza
can
Hut.
change in 30 years.
Yeah. So anyway, because they're both owned by Yum Yum or Yum Brands or whatever, except that Taco Bell is a lot more popular here than it is in places with taste. They're like Pizza Hut.
Hey, you leave
I
Taco
actually-
Bell out of this.
I actually love both Taco
Yeah, I
Bell
love
and Pizza
Taco
Hut.
Bell.
I love Yum
Mhm.
Brands, sponsored by Yum. All right, we're gonna toss it to the unwashed masses.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah,
I can see people leaving, and we're already in an hour. All right. You forgot this was made in '93, not today. Yeah,
I didn't forget
we,
that.
we already discussed it. We will give it no more. The real villain, according to Andrew L. Case, is the blonde hair. That's true.
It does
Dennis
sound like he
Rodman
hated it.
appropriated.
It does sound like he hated it. So there you go.
Are we not going to address the genetic procreation? There's only planned breeding that's not very hippie-ish. Yeah, but that's like the
Agreed.
fascism thing. The
No,
hippies
and
are
like-
underground.
No, but
But
like
also above ground.
I agree that Jason is like that facet is so unlike this like free love hippie woo woo. Be well. We're all here to be on the same earth together. Like, yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think ultimately this world they created is just like a Frankenstein's monster straw man. They just like took all these things that they hate about modern society and they just blame it on, the
Whoever.
woke mob. Yeah. And anyway,
I'm going to jump to this comment. Yeah, Dennis Rodman is a very stable, normal guy that would never do something crazy like copy hair he saw in a movie.
Now, I
Great
want to
point,
just
Artie.
say, I don't think that the thing that's unbelievable is that Dennis Rodman would or wouldn't do something he saw in a movie. It's just that, like, I just don't know if this specific character made such a huge cultural impact that, like, one of the most famous players on the planet at the time would be like, I would have never thought to do that. Thank God I saw Demolition Man. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it's like, how many black action heroes came out with movies that year that had wacky haircuts? Presumably not that many. If you're gonna do it, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Michael Dieter says if the guns in the museum hadn't been left loaded for decades, the movie would have been
So
over in a few
funny.
minutes.
Very
is funny
funny,
that they-
very true.
So dumb.
That they kept the ammo. Like,
Yeah,
it's really
in
important that
it.
you know
And ready to
all
go.
all the various types of ammo, plus also laser guns.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the laser gun was lame. He
It
kept
wasn't
being
that
like,
good.
he was like, "Oh my god, did you see it? Like, took out that plank?" And you're like, "Yeah, but,
Cool.
like,
Yeah.
you've
And then-
shot it 400 times with a machine gun first."
Yeah, and then also he had a clear shot at his nemesis, and instead of using his favorite gun that works every time, he's like, I'm gonna use this one, and he misses in the fight.
Well, he missed
Shouldn't have.
exclusively. They all missed all the
Yeah.
time. Demolition Man is a Judge Dredd prequel. I believe that.
True?
No,
Okay.
it's not. Did you guys know that I did have a TV? Shut up. All right.
There it is.
Sandra got shafted in that movie. The brave hero knocks out for her own good nonsense.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh,
shitty.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think by this point, my brain was tired of the movie a little bit. I gotta be honest. I don't really know if I know what happens in the last 20 minutes.
Oh, very cool ice fight scene. Anyway.
Yeah, there was an ice fight.
Does the movie change if they didn't reveal the bust of people is already dead at the start? I think it would be a better character. He gets result, but there's real consequences.
Okay.
I didn't even care about that.
Oh, you didn't?
Here's
That's what I was saying
what-
right at the beginning. I thought you guys knew that. Yeah, he did. That's why I was saying they were all dead already.
Yes.
Huh.
So here's what this was my
It's fine.
gut reaction pitch to fix the movie a tiny bit. I did not understand why he was being iced or whatever for this specific thing with no trial, with no nothing, with no publicity. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there was nothing in the movie that was like, we believe that you didn't kill them, but the public thinks you did. So there was just nothing.
It's because liberals hate cops, and when liberals are in charge, they're gonna deign to punish cops.
I don't know. I kind of was like, what if instead they're gonna freeze Wesley Snipes, and this cop who's so dedicated to his job is like, if
Jumps
that guy has the potential. No, basically being like, if there ever is a potential for this guy to come out of cryogenic sleep, I want to be there. Put me in just in case. I should be a fail safe. Like this guy's not allowed to appear in the future without you having me ready to go, knowing who he is and what he does. Like that, made more sense to me as
bye honey, bye daughter.
Yeah, and also then the honey and daughter being like, you're a psycho. Why would you do this? Why would you leave us? And him being like, I know that this sounds crazy, but someday somebody's gonna mess up, and this guy's gonna be free, and I'm gonna be the only person who can save the world. And then it happens. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
there
what
you
I
go.
thought.
We reboot it with that angle with Pizza Hut instead of Taco Bell, so that we don't have to localize it for other countries. And then we get the guys from the Raid to do it. We get Gareth Edwards and all the Indonesian actors.
Totally.
And we made $1 billion just now.
Then we have Michael Sheen play the Wesley Snipes character as a nod to his character from 30 Rock, who's named Wesley Snipes, and it'll be fun.
And if this movie were made today, we get a whole 10-minute scene explaining how to use the seashells because they
Except
don't
that
let
it's Jesse.
I will write that. I already have.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of notes.
Except twist. This is so long. Vonna Murphy says Stallone claims that what you do is you use 2 seashells like chopsticks and you pull gently and scrape what's left with a third. It's hard to say if it would actually work, but they didn't really care.
Okay, because shells are supposed to go like this.
They're supposed to go like this.
You have to have a pretty healthy diet for that to be very effective.
Well, guess what? They do.
Like big old juicy turds.
Oh, it's just
That's
like
true.
You know how like dog food, cat food, and stuff is just designed to make the poop predictable. For the most part, it's so that the stools are easy to pick up. That's
sorry.
what
We're still talking about poop.
Still talking about poop. Take that one away. That's what's happening in society. That's why dog poop doesn't turn white anymore. It's because all of the dog food companies changed their formulas so that whatever was making it white doesn't happen. So it is formulated to make the poop a certain way, as are the diets of the people in San Andreas or whatever.
It's all food like Taco Bell. It's their new slogan is like shell friendly turds. Jordan Straight Nose tells me they used to win fights. I was fighting as a child. So it didn't matter. My ears are screwed up because I used to wrestle, and so I have some cauliflower ear.
Cauliflower
ear. I mean, look, if you break your nose, no matter what age, your nose is still messed up for life.
But there were children trying to break it. Is my point.
True. I used to get into fights with kids when I was like a kid, and I'd get pushed over a lot, and I remember multiple times sort of waking up in a nurse's office or something, sort of like a video game restarting. And then I not long ago was like, yeah, when you'd lose consciousness when you were a kid, you'd wake up and it'd be like, uh-oh, new game. And people would be like, I've never lost consciousness. I was like, maybe that's why my brain is so bad. So, we'll figure it out.
This is an
you
important
do have
one.
some heinous opinions. Good. Sorry.
Cyrus the Great says, "You morons are such." Wait, I should do it in Jordan Peterson. You morons are such cowards. Taking jabs at straight men is all you do because it's the norm. Besides, you use every word insecure for every emotion. Talk about being tone deaf, you
Definitely.
woke moralists.
We definitely talked about this a
love that.
lot during the podcast. I can
Yeah, if I-
definitely
Well,
think
look,
of
I got
exactly when
very-
we talked about that during the podcast.
I got very much on a soapbox about like, conservatives versus liberals and stuff. But I think my broader point is that on either side of the debate, in most cases, one
They're
side
good people.
oftentimes
Both sides.
intentionally, but one side often intentionally misunderstands the other side, and that happens in both directions. So that's kind of what I was saying. Although I do think that it's oftentimes more intentional.
I think
certain
you're
directions.
being a woke moralist. Cancel this, bitch.
I mean,
Good impression.
yeah, man, I certainly am.
I wish I'd had more time to prepare. If I'd known this was coming, I would have done some chest exercises or something. All right, so we've got some recommendations that I'm just going to throw out. Wizards.
Cool.
I don't know, but you didn't pay me for it. So.
I would watch that. I have not seen any of the Ralph Bakshi movie besides the weird Lord of the Rings ones that were animated that are nightmare fuel. So I'm excited by that.
Last Action Hero. I've always wanted to see.
Oh, that would be, dude. That would be great. We should definitely.
That's Shane Black, right? He wrote it.
Oh, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. He wrote it. I know this. What if Wesley Snipes was DM and Jackie Chan was the villain? I'd dig that.
Yeah.
DM
totally.
being Demolition Man, not the Dungeon Master. You
Yeah.
nerd. I can
What
see
if?
your eyes glazing over as you dreamt of dragons and dungeons. All right. We could also do The Rock. That's also a movie.
That would be,
also,
I think that'd be a good one too.
Somebody wants to do, Anime Titties is back.
Yay!
All right, great. So whatever. We talked about some stuff. We finally took out those woke moralists, and they'll never come back to our
Yeah, we
podcast.
Can I just say,
Podcast.
really good comment I just saw? David Williamson says it's like locking Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson in a room and telling them to figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figure it
You
out.
figure it out,
Anyway.
you bastards. I'm starting to get a lot more of a brogue.
Fat
All right.
bastard.
So here's what we're doing. All right, let's do alternate titles.
Yeah,
Titles.
good. Because I also have to teach at 5:30, so I'm going to tell you my
Oh,
alternate
yeah,
titles.
we should skedaddle.
All right, go.
I already told you my my one was the 3 seashell problem. Thank
Yep.
you.
Awesome, love that.
I also had cold fuzz because I got frozen.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking, it's funny because it's like this guy comes back to life and he's been gone for a while, and it takes place in California specifically. So just like, this is a new title, but what if it was called Encino Man? Maybe.
There's a
Just a thought.
certain ring to that.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's like a good title.
That's a great title.
Those are mine.
Love it.
Good. Jesse, what you got?
Okay. Murder, Death, Kill, but said in the weird way that Sandra Bullock says it at the beginning. What's your boggle?
Did
I liked
you
that.
also, has anyone ever played MDK, the computer game? I feel like I've never seen
No.
anyone else ever talk about it ever.
Mm-mm.
It's great. I think it might stand for Murder, Death, Kill, but it wasn't like that. It was like sci-fi, and there's moving cities, and you shoot them. It was great.
Mm.
What's your boggle? Writing it down.
What's your boggle? Okay. The future liberals want. And finally, she smells seashells.
Wow.
Mm.
Very good.
She sells. I think somebody else.
She smells. She smells.
Anime Titties also gave us that one.
Okay.
Oh, thanks.
It's important that you hear me when I say she smells seashells.
Oh my god. You somebody's texting me, and I can't tell because it's on my. Ooh, somebody's texting me that they like my Jordan Peterson, but I can't tell because my iMessage doesn't. Thank you, you woke moralist. All right, so I already did this one. All right, so my alternates were insecure heterosexual males, just to get people to get in the comments and yell at me, which I think
And
I
they
succeeded
certainly
at.
did. It worked.
A most disagreeable whacking, because at one point she says that sounds a whacking sounds most disagreeable or something like that. Rat burger, and then
Yum.
somebody else, whoever pitched stunt tits. I really enjoyed that, so we're gonna leave that. Anime Titty says fast food wars, pretty good. Iceman cometh.
Nice.
Very good.
Except he doesn't because he
cometh.
He pulls his hat off.
Well,
No,
he
I
should
think-
have cometh. It was
I think
his
he went to
fault.
one of those. He went to one of those kiosks afterward and had it jerk him off or whatever.
He did. Or you just this is
It's not canon.
you've been
but
getting
great
into
though.
Demolition
This
Man
time-
too.
David made the joke about plays and not me, and so I don't get paid by the big, big theater corporation. David
Big
gets
T.
out. David gets the payment today.
Welcome to Rat Burger, home of the Rat Burger.
Very nice. Love that.
90s. Love it.
Love it.
Spartan v Phoenix, Dawn of Justice.
Honestly,
Excellent.
probably a better title usage of that.
3 Seashell Guesswork.
Love that.
Taco Shells. Tacos
Funny.
2 Shells. Wow.
Nice.
Scatterbrained
Two
Black
shells.
Phoenix Down. Black Phoenix Down. It feels uncomfortable. I don't know if I like that. So anyway, whatever is the most likely to get us clicks is what
Canceled.
I'll choose.
Canceled.
Or canceled. Angela Barra says this is a message and gave us $2.
Wow. Thank you, Angela.
Or Angel. Sorry.
Hey.
Angel.
Thank
Barrera.
you.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. You guys gave us a weird amount of money, and I wish
Yeah, this was quite a lot, and I'm sort of
anybody besides
sorry.
Allie was getting paid for this.
Well, that's fine. Look, you all can watch a Serbian film without me and tell me what you guys think.
I'll probably just cry. I'll make my daughter watch it just to make you all feel bad.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. Definitely.
Oh, but
That's
when's Bring Your
good.
Daughter to Work Day? Anyway,
You
sorry, we
woke
should
more or less
probably
trying to
wrap-
get me to
probably
not make my daughter watch Serbian films.
wrap.
Can't we watch something that's weird but isn't that? Why not watch any other Tarkovsky weird film? Do you know what I mean?
Because for somebody to give us $70 to do this or $80 or whatever is more than we make in 8 of these because we don't.
That's
make,
true.
I can't even turn monetization on. This is
At
just
this point, I have to assume
for the love of the game.
it's either for the love of the game or something sexual. Just being yes, I got people to watch it. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, nope, that accent's different too. Oh yeah, just watch that. Well, don't you shove it up your keister while you. All right, so we're live streaming every Thursday at 4 p.m. Next week is apparently a freaking Serbian film. We've been paid to do it. This is sponsored by Jason.
Or that might be the
Hemwick.
following week. Whatever. I don't know.
Well,
See
it
you on the
depends.
first.
Yeah,
Depends
we'll
on
figure it
if
out.
we have a guest that we care about. And if we don't, we're going to make them watch a Serbian film.
We'll never
Please
talk to you again.
subscribe to us on the YouTubes, which is where you are. And, beyond that, Miss Alice Nutting, where can we find you?
At Miss Alice Nutting, any of the places where you'd expect to find a person, I suppose. Thank you.
Eisman?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Eisemann. Whatever. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at _J_breeding. And technically I do have my own YouTube channel and I don't plug it very much because I don't make videos for it. But if numbers went up over there, I wouldn't be upset. You never know.
Wow.
You need a golden parachute.
Wow.
I got 299 subscribers, so I think I'm starting my own competing company soon.
Wow.
Anyway, that's it. Just, cancel this and all that. We'll see you next week, and we'll watch something.
And I would like to wish our audience a very merry be fucked.
Quick, turn it off. Turn it off.